Alright, so let's be honest, my expectations for this weren't that high. Mainly because the online receptions to it seem to have been lukewarm at best. But I don't know, I hadn't seen Vin Diesel in anything in quite a while, so I figured I might as well check this out. And you know, maybe it'll turn out to be kinda fun anyway, there's always a chance of that. But this whole thing is based on a comic book, and I think I'll have to more or less spoil the intro sequence here. Because otherwise I can't really talk about what the actual movie is about. So that's just a heads up, but the idea here is that Vin Diesel plays a soldier who died in action. But he is then resurrected using nanotechnology and is turned into some sort of super soldier. That's the basic idea here, and most of that is explained in the intro sequence. And that sequence is actually fairly long, and my first impression of it was that it looked and felt cheap. It also had some really cheesy moments, a very generic score, and I laughed out loud about 3 or 4 times. At things that I'm pretty sure weren't supposed to be funny too, by the way. And that's all before the movie actually even kicks into gear and gets going. So overall, my initial impression of the movie was not good, but at the same time, I was having fun with it. I also spent a good amount of time wondering how Vin Diesel had been roped into doing something like this. Because he has to have made $1 bazillion from those Fast and Furious movies. He shouldn't be hurting for cash and be forced to take on projects he doesn't want to do. So why would he then jump on board something like this? Because it wasn't looking very good. Now with that being said, I will have to admit that my first impressions were not entirely accurate. Because the story here, or the whole idea behind the plot that is revealed a bit later, is actually kinda clever. I sorta liked it, and most of the movie didn't feel and look as cheap as the intro either. Maybe they ran out of money and had to shoot that sequence last or something, I don't know. But I will say that this actually had a number of really cool and fun scenes too. So it's not all bad, it did have its moments, and I have to give credit where credit is due. And that's probably gonna be the last compliment I give this before diving into some more issues. And trust me, there are plenty of those, because this is a deeply flawed movie. Now as I said, it's not all bad, because I laughed more and harder at this than many so-called comedies. So despite the flaws, or maybe because of them, I had fun with it. I really did. And a lot of the comedy came from absolutely terrible ADR. I mean, it was bad. And if you don't know what ADR is, it's when they record dialogue later and splice it into the movie. I mean, whoever was in charge of that, oh boy, they did not do a good job. But as I said, it made for some fun moments, so I can't complain too much. Which I guess brings me to one of the most blatant issues, and that's some of the CGI. Only some though, because as I said, there were some really cool scenes here and there too. But even within those scenes, at times the effects were really rough. And toward the end there's a sequence involving an elevator, and it looked like it was ripped straight out of a video game. It looked bad. They completely dropped the ball on that one, or perhaps director Dave Wilson thought it was acceptable. Because Mr. Wilson has worked a lot in visual effects before. For guess what? Video games. Coincidence? Maybe, maybe not, but the end result was something I would not deem passable in 2020. And yeah, as a whole, this movie was definitely not good, despite some redeeming qualities. However, some people might still find it enjoyable to a certain degree, like I did, for all the wrong reasons. But that leads me to the final question: would I recommend it? Nope, but if you wanna risk it, you might still have fun with it. So I don't know, maybe check it out, maybe don't, after all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic. And if you'd like, you can also support me on Patreon or PayPal through the links in the description. And as always, I appreciate you and thanks for watching.